The nut takes 9 months to grow ripe, and at the beginning it is enclosed in a fluid that resembles human sperm. Once the husk has been removed, the nut reveals a shape that strongly resembles the private parts of a young woman. That's the way it was described by Pierre Sonrat, whom French King Louis XVI had sent out to discover the world. He began his travelogue with a description of the coco de mer that made quite a stir at the royal court. He thus confirmed reports that had reached Louis XV 20 years earlier through a minister of the navy by the name of Praslin, a name that was immortalized in the Seychelles island. "20 years later, a French officer from Napoleon's armies decided to reproduce the flora of the Indian Ocean in wax. He had studied the art of wax sculpture during the Italian campaigns and was now stationed in Ile-de-France, better known today as Mauritius. The coco de mer that became the masterpiece of this collection, called Caporama, can be admired today in the plant garden of Paris. The coco de mer is the largest and rarest coconut in the world. Each specimen weighs between 10 and 20 kilograms. Sometimes a single tree carries 300 to 400 kilos. The coco de mer has inspired man's imagination as far back as the 15th century. It is well known that at one time it fetched more than its own weight in gold, when the sultans of the Maldives, of Java, or of Sumatra sold it to rulers east and west. But nobody knew where it came from, since the Seychelles had not yet been discovered. The Maldivians claimed to find them on their beaches and said they came from a mysterious forest deep down in the ocean. Maybe they knew the truth and secretly went to harvest them on Praslin. Because of its very obvious similarity with human sexual organs, all kinds of powers were attributed to the nuts as aphrodisiacs and antidotes. In 1601, Emperor Rudolf II of Austria purchased the coco de mer from a Dutch admiral who had obtained it from the Sultan of Bantam on Java. The emperor paid 4,000 guilders in gold, a veritable fortune at the time, equal in value to 500 cattle. He ordered this goldsmith to put a sort of spout on the nut, to ensure that he would never be poisoned. After all, the antidote was reputedly universal. In the Vallée des Mets, an attentive and patient visitor may discover the small world that prospers on the male catkin of the coco de mer, the snail, the small green gecko that savours the pollen, and the ants who never lose a crumb. In the surroundings, you might catch a glimpse of the rare black parrot of Praslin, another symbol of the May Valley. Their staple food are mangoes and the small green bilimbi fruits. These birds are nearly extinct and therefore strictly protected. Most of these defenseless animals were already massacred by the earliest seafarers who visited the islands. Portuguese, Dutch, British, French, Spanish, Americans, they all killed indiscriminately anything that moved on land or in the air. This way, they also brought the giant land tortoises, which once populated the islands of the western Indian Ocean by the millions, to the brink of extinction. Thus disappeared the great parrot of Mauritius, as well as thousands of other birds that only survive in memory. The dodo of Mauritius, symbol for extinct species in general. The solitaire of Rodrigue and the solitaire of Réunion. The blue rail of Lega and the yellow rail of Mundy, and so on. The Seychelles are located north of Madagascar, just below the equator. 115 islands scattered over a distance of 800 nautical miles, forming the Seychelles archipelago, of which the best-known part is the group around the main island of Mahe. Closest to the Granite Islands are the Amirantes, a dozen coral islands, 120 nautical miles southwest of the main group. The easternmost of the Amirantes is Desroches. Like other islands, Desroches has been opened for tourism, quiet and luxurious.
Son lisier éclair, yen si tapazé, toujours des sautaillés, toujours le voyer. Il pas qu'on arithmétique, mais il compte en la musique. Il pas qu'on l'histoire, mais il raconte l'histoire. Pas mis oiseaux. Monte au pied man, monte au pied ça. Son dinosaure dit l'itio-tio. Des petits postes pleins et sans malade.